started coaching as soon as I was done playing in 2008. I've been doing football ever since I was little, so I decided to step away and just do some odd jobs for a couple of years, and I found it hard to do. And I remember one moment I went to go watch a football game, and it was a college football game, and I was watching it from the stands, and it was tearing me up. And I felt a burning desire to me to be on that field and to be out there and to coach the guys.
All right, welcome back. We got another episode here of From the 513, spending some time on the offensive line today with offensive line coach Nic Cardwell. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just start with how you're enjoying Cincinnati, because I would imagine much like a playbook, year one it just becomes fast and you don't get to appreciate everything, and then it slows down a little bit. How are you enjoying the city of Cincinnati at this point?
Well, I know, before we got started with this episode, we were talking a little bit about our kids and the sports that they're playing. It's been great. So I have an 11-year-old boy, an 8-year-old girl, and a 5-year-old boy, and we live up in the Sycamore area, and it's been awesome. Yeah. It's been great. School system's been great. The Little League coaches are awesome. We've always known, being from North Carolina, that Ohio had great football and great coaches, especially at the high school level. But my son playing in all these sports, and even my daughter playing sports, the coaches have been great. The restaurants are awesome. We were, it was Mother's Day, and we went downtown to go eat. And usually I don't even like taking my kids out to eat, but because they're so wild.
No.
But we were at a rooftop restaurant, and my wife stood up and said, the greatest city we've ever lived in. And I was like, you are right.
Yeah.
That is true. And so it's been great. We love it. We enjoy it. Her family are big Cincinnati Reds fans because they're originally from Huntington, West Virginia.
Sure.
And so when we moved here, usually people don't visit us a whole lot. All of a sudden, everybody wants to come visit. Everybody wants to come stay with us, go to Kings Island, go to a Reds game, a Bengals game, come to the Bearcats, all that stuff.
From a coaching standpoint, what was it about this role that was enticing, that you wanted to be a part of this program?
Well, there's so many great offensive linemen that have come through here, but Cincinnati, and a lot of people might not know this, but through the years, this has become a hub for some great offensive line coaches. There's such a thing called the Cool Clinic, coaches of the offensive line, started by Bob Wiley, Coach McNally, Paul Alexander, and you would see offensive line coaches from all over the country come here for a clinic. Now, this wasn't like a social clinic. This was ball for 2 days straight, and it was guys giving out real information and having a lot of great conversation about how to advance the position of offensive line. And so when I heard that I was going to have the opportunity to coach here, I was like, man, it's going to be great, because you can meet some new people here, and there's such a great history of offensive line coaches here. They now have moved it to an offline deal, but anytime I want to talk ball with Coach Peters, who's down at the Cincinnati Bengals, I can go do that. But there's just such a great resource here with a lot of great offensive line coaches.
Did you always know that you wanted to get into coaching?
I didn't. I knew I loved football. I think, man, just watching the sport and playing it and being a part of some really awesome teams, being able to win 3 national championships at the FCS level at Appalachian State, and seeing what it felt like in the room and in the culture. But you knew that the offensive line was the group that ran the whole team. They're the engine behind the whole team. And I always wanted to be a part of that. I started coaching as soon as I was done playing in 2008. I've been doing football ever since I was little, so I decided to step away and just do some odd jobs for a couple of years. And I found it hard to do. I mean, it wasn't anything I was passionate about. And I remember one moment I went to go watch a football game, and it was a college football game, and I was watching it from the stands, and it was tearing me up. And it looked like the guys, the team that I was pulling for, they weren't playing with passion. They weren't playing like they cared. And I felt a burning desire to me to be on that field and to be out there and to coach the guys. I felt like I was gifted to be able to do it. And, so I decided to started in the weight room, and then as a strength coach, and then started working my way up.
It's a unique job because a lot of the days are long, the hours are long, and they can become similar if you pile them on top of each other. So What is it about it that motivates you when you wake up in the morning to want to attack every single day with that enthusiasm?
I love it. I walked on at Appalachian State and later was able to earn a scholarship. And this, football has done so much for me. And it's an opportunity for me to give back. And I wake up every morning ready to go, excited to be able to go out there and coach the guys. I love it. I love learning. And that's not even it's not even about game day. Like, I love game days, and those are cool. Nip at night. I think all that stuff is awesome. But I love practice. I love seeing somebody that you've been teaching to put his hand somewhere, or how to punch, or how to take a step over and over again, and the kid hasn't got it, and then by week 3, bam, he finally hits it. Man, he finally stops your best D lineman on a bull rush, or somebody finally finishes a guy that you've been trying to get. And it's different for every single kid. And so to me, the challenge and the thing that I love is figuring that kid out. Like, how do I figure out this offensive lineman? Yeah, he's got some tools and he can play, but how can I figure out how can I get him better mentally as a man, but also as a player? And figuring that stuff out is what brings the passion out in me. That's the thing I'll wake up for and I'm most excited for.
The game is always evolving, but is there anything that you took from the time where you played or started into coaching that you still carry with you today?
I think, just the ability to connect with players. I've been around some really good coaches, and that they've always cared about their players. And, when you can connect with a guy, no matter what it is, it makes it that much easier to coach him. And coach him with some passion. I think this game should be played with passion. It's a passionate game. And, those are the things that have been consistent for me every single year that I've coached.
Take me inside of a meeting early on when you get the whole group together and you're installing those pillars of what it's going to take to be successful. What are some of those pillars that you want the offensive line to lean on?
Yeah, number one, it's got to be effort. I mean, we have got to play a nasty brand of football, and we got to finish people. And I tell guys, the scoreboard's great. Like I want to have more points than they do at the end, but I want to see more of their bodies on the ground than ours. And we should be finishing somebody every single play. We should be chasing the football, and we may get penalized sometimes, but we're not going to get. There shouldn't be anything that lacks effort in what we do. Effort and finish. And so I would say the other thing would be communication. You've got to communicate. You have to. We do a lot of things with the guys off the field. We bring them over to the house at least once a month, or we'll go paintball, we'll go bowling, just a bunch of different stuff. And we do it because we want to build relationships, but it's a great opportunity to see how these guys communicate with each other off the field, right? And see how they can build that relationship, but we've got to be able to communicate up front.
Relationships, I think, goes into the culture as well, which is different to build now than it was a couple years ago because you're implementing a lot of different pieces every single year. How important is the culture? If you want to be successful at the highest level, how important does the culture that correlates back to the field?
Right. I don't think you do it with success in mind. I think you do it with relationship in mind. Like, somebody's parent entrusted this young man to me. All right. So it is my goal to help him achieve his goals. And part of achieving those goals are to help point out some of the things that he needs to work on, whether it be personality or whether it's a lift or whether it's a run or a punch or whatever it may be, to help him develop and go. And so when you're focusing on helping that kid develop, then the culture around it begins to build as well. And so, we want to be successful. We want all that stuff, but it is truly about relationship. It's about pushing these guys. It's about effort. It's about finish. All those things that we build day in and day out. And you got to be consistent as a coach. You have to be. You got to be in there every single day with a ton of juice and a ton of energy to get these guys to play the way you want them to play.
It's a very unique system because of the balance that Scott Satterfield's offenses can bring, run, pass. So when you're watching a high school athlete, you're watching a portal guy, what are some of those things that when you turn on the tape and jumps off to you that say, okay, this player can thrive in this system?
You want to see some flexibility. You want to see some movement. I know tackles, we're looking for length and athleticism. Interior guys, we're looking for A-gap bullies, guys that are strong and finish. But beyond the tape, when you sit down and talk with a kid, you can tell if he loves football. We were recruiting a young man this past cycle, and I remember getting on the phone with him, and I said, hey, it's always my first question, do you love football? And he said, I'm learning to love football. He's a former basketball guy. And I said, okay, cool. I never called him again. Like, I'm not, if you don't love this, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
If you don't love coaching, you're not going to make it. If you don't love playing football, you're not going to make it. And when you talk to kids, and we do a ton of Zooms with them in the process of recruiting them, and you start to watch their film with them, and you talk through how they execute a play, and you can see their eyes light up. Oh yeah, this is how I did this. This is how I finished this. Well, I went here because the play call was this. And you start to talk to them about some of the things that you do, you can tell really fast this kid absolutely loves football or he doesn't. And some of the ways that shows up on film is when they finish somebody. You know, you see guys blocking somebody all the way down the field, and then like they roll over top of them and they jump up. Like, that's what people show up to see, is somebody who's doing something with passion.
I didn't realize until I had kids of my own, but the parents that are entrusting you as a coach to not only develop their student athlete on the field, but off the field as well.
Right.
When you have those meetings with parents or guardians, what are you conveying to them about why the University of Cincinnati is the right fit?
Right. And I think the number one thing for us, we haven't lost, especially in the offensive line room, we haven't lost a lot of guys to the portal, or we haven't had a lot of guys that just wanted to leave. And because I believe, because Coach Satterfield has always done this, it's always been about people. Because we treat people the right way, I think is a big reason to come play at the University of Cincinnati. We're going to push you to be a great football player. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, we're going to try to help you build some confidence, grow up as a man, and be in relationship with you. And every kid in my room and I'm sure on this team, you know, we're treating them a little bit different. Okay, what do we need to do to help this person be successful?
You mentioned the portal in today's world, and you haven't seen it a lot at UC, but a lot of universities out there, guys, are leaving at a very high rate. So when you have the meeting with the player that is not happy with the playing time, you know, everyone does it, or the parents aren't happy, how are you handling those types of meetings?
I think I haven't had a whole lot of those where it's, you know, I think I should be this, but you guys have me as this. I think I should be a starter, but you guys have me as a backup. We try to make it very clear to why someone is or is not playing. We create cut-ups, we have tests, we have all these things, and we make it clear because at the end of the day, I've got to play the best 5, and usually I play around 7 or 8 guys, or else we don't win. So we got to play that. So everybody in the room knows, okay, these are the best 5 or the best 6, 7, 8 guys that we need to be having out there playing. So if something like that comes up, we do have a conversation. We bring up a cut up and say, okay, let's talk about this right here. Let's see about this play right here. Yeah, I can get better at that. You know, so I think we have candid conversations, but I think we're transparent the whole time. Like, we're not up here saying, yeah, you're going to start, and then you get like the day before a game and all of a sudden they're not starting. We want to communicate all the way through that. And honestly, at this level, I have not, they're grown men. I'm not dealing with a whole bunch of parents' situations.
What do you want to see from your offensive line group coming into this season to take that next step?
So we got here in 2023, and there's a lot of questions about the offensive line group. You had John Williams, who was a backup or actually gotten benched by the previous staff. You had D'Artagnan Tinsley, who was a backup that showed some promise. You had Gavin, who was a starter. You had Kandra that came with us from Louisville. And you had Dion that came from Kentucky, and a lot of questions. Probably the biggest question was them. And they were so hungry to win and so hungry to execute that I thought they came in and put together a solid season. The next year, in 2024, we had all 5 of those guys back. Makes it easy, you know. They know what you need, and they're all that. And they're connecting well. They've communicated. They've seen all the different fronts. And then you lose 3 or 4 of those guys up front. And so now we're back to trying to teach these guys how to play together and how to communicate. To make that next step is to continue to be more consistent in pass protection. We made a big jump last year to this year, and continue to execute up front when it comes time for us to do with the run game.
How much of an addition, or how much does it help to get a Gavin Gerhardt back? And not only that, but Joe Royer, who plays in a lot of the protection schemes and the blocking schemes for you as well. And at the same time, you bring back one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the country. So to have that consistency, maybe not across the O-line as a whole, but to have it in a tight end and to have it in a quarterback and a key member of that offensive line, how much does that help the offense trying to come together as a whole?
I think it's huge. I mean, Gavin is an incredible leader. You're seeing Sorsby grow up and continue to lead. And obviously Joe with understanding our system, all that stuff is huge. Gavin, holding guys accountable. When you watch us do drills, we're pushing guys to do things in a certain way. But if I'm over here pulling another kid aside and talking to him about something, you'll hear Gavin like, listen, that's not how you do it. This is how we need to do things. And he has seen all these different fronts, and so he can be able to communicate, hey, this is how we're going to handle it up front. And, to have Sorsby. And one of the biggest things from 23 to 24 that helped out with protection, our guys did a better job up front, but Sorsby was able to get rid of the ball. Yeah. And that's huge. As a quarterback, get rid of that ball, you'll take care of me. Right. Don't take sacks for no good reason. And he's done a good job of that. And so we're excited to have those key pieces on offense back.
So much of the game of football is about handling failures as well.
Yep.
At any level, quarterbacks throw interceptions, you got to come back out the next play, and you can see at times when one bad thing snowballs into another.
Yep.
On an offensive line, you're going to go against guys sometimes that just win on the edge,
That
or a
is a
Dante
fact.
Corleone who's going to win because those guys are good too. So
That's right.
How do you handle, from a coaching standpoint to the players, failures of you're going to fail and then coming back for the next play?
I think the biggest example of that is John Williams. If you watch him throughout his years, when we've made a cut up of his development from when he first got here to the time he left. And you can watch his sets. You can see how he attacked every single day. You can see the lack of confidence he had in 21, 22, and a little bit in 23. And then in 24, he turned it on.
Yeah.
And so for us as a coach, what I am emphasizing is the same thing I do with my kids. Failure is growth. Failure is growth. You go out there and fail, it's fine. Let's talk about it. Let's work through it and let's see what happened. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to rip your hind end every single time. Let's talk through it because everybody's trying to do their best, and the kids are trying to get all on the same page and make it happen. And so when we do one-on-one pass rush, I'm looking for them to try a different move. Not worried about the D-line. I want you to work a different punch, a different set of sets, whether you're setting straight back or straight at them. I want you to change it up. If you fail, it's okay. We're trying to build confidence in our sets. We cannot up front, you cannot, especially at tackle, you cannot set up there and not play with some confidence. And so you turn on that film and you watch John Williams from 23 to 24, and he's going out there and he's getting his hands on him right now. I mean, that made the difference. I mean, that's why he got drafted, because of that right there. And for us as a staff and us in the offensive line room, that's what we're trying to do. We want them to play with confidence. Are we going to get on to them? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, they need to know failure is growth. Failure is growth, and we got to be able to push through it. And one more thing in terms of confidence. I think some of the stuff that these guys are facing now because of NIL and because of the amount of money they're making, which is good. I'm glad everybody's getting paid. I'm fine with that, is the way these kids feel now that they're making money. Sometimes they get in their heads and are like, okay, well, I'm making money. I better go perform. And they put pressure on them that they don't need to put on them. And so a lot of my conversations with our guys have been, listen, just relax and play ball. You're going to make a mistake. That is how you learn. Don't worry about what so-and-so is making or how much you could make or how much you are making. There's no obligation to that.
Sure.
Just play the game that you've been playing since you were a kid because you love it. And if you make a mistake, okay, we got to move on. Like, just okay. Failure is growth. Now, what do I learn from that? And so I think that's a different dynamic that probably most people don't see has affected kids, but you got to be able to address it as a coach and help a kid move past that so he can be a good player.
You mentioned the offensive linemen that have come and played at this university and moved on before. When you also walk these hallways, you see the coaches that have built their legacies at the University of Cincinnati as well. Down the road, when all is said and done for you, what do you want your legacy to be as a coach here at the University of Cincinnati?
That's a great question. I'd say number one, someone who was passionate about his players. I tell my guys all the time, when you show up, what shows up? Like when Deion Buford shows up, what shows up? When Gavin Gearhart shows up, what shows up? If y'all get hired somewhere at a company, what are they expecting? Well, when Gavin Gearhart shows up, you're going to get somebody who can communicate, somebody who's got some passion, somebody who's smart, all those things. And so for me, what are you getting when Nic Cardwell shows up? Somebody who absolutely loves his job, somebody who's passionate about this game, somebody who connects well with the guys, and I think that would be the legacy we would like to leave. If I could leave one thing, it would be that group of guys played with great effort and tremendous finish, and they played as one.
Coach, finally, the facilities are awesome that we're in right now, but
Yes, sir.
getting ready to move into the indoor facility, to have everything under one roof, weight room right to the field, to meeting rooms, to nutrition, to recovery, to recruiting,
Yep.
it encompasses everything. How important, when you're talking about the Big 12 and competing against teams at the national level, how important is it to now add that piece of the puzzle to everything you guys got going on?
You know, we had a big recruiting weekend this past weekend, and so this place checks a lot of the boxes. I mean, it really does. Great fan base, check. Coaches that care about them, check. Awesome city, check. Great restaurants, it checks a lot of boxes. And so as I talked to recruits and their parents as in their exit meetings and how they felt about the visit and all that stuff, they were like, the cherry on top to all this is the facilities. Yeah. He said, they were like, it's tremendous, at best in the country. And there's been a lot of guys that have transferred in, and seeing us build it, we're like, this is going to be better than where we've come from. And maybe some of it's SEC schools. And so it only is going to help us in the recruiting world for sure. And it's been tremendous. Our administration has done a great job of making that happen for us and for these kids. You know, for us, we will make sure, hey, we're still going to work. Yeah. It's nice. It helps. All that stuff's great. But that was one last thing that you wanted to check. You know, you wanted to check the box. Everything else was great, but now no one can say anything about the facilities.
Coach, this was awesome. We appreciate your time. Good luck this year.
Absolutely.